The key issues in the payments industry at the moment depend on where you are in the world. Obviously in Europe we have SEPA coming to fore at the 1st of January 2008. If you then look at the States, they have the Check 21 issue and move away from cheques to more electronic payments. And I think in Asia Pacific you have a variety of challenges around money laundering and core banking systems replacement, all of which impinge on payments processing. I think the catalysts are different in many different areas, but there are a shift in a variety of places depending where you are on the planet. The Payment Services Directive is the thing that everybody's been waiting for, and now that the Payment Service Directive has been approved, we'll now move into a phase where I think the governments will actually implement the Payment Service Directive within their national legal frameworks, and I think that will actually see a lot more movement within banks making decisions to move forward and obviously move into the new area of SEPA-based payments, particularly on the credit transfer side. Obviously there has been some delays announced around direct debits because of the time frame that people believe that the legal framework will take to be implemented at the national level. So I think you'll see credit transfers happen on the 1st of January, but I think we'll see direct debits not happen probably till the 2009 time frame. The perceived delay in the Payment Service Directive, or the actual delay in it being approved, has caused the implementation of direct debits to slip back by some time frame of around 12 to 24 months. And I think banks probably see that as a benefit, because the business case to move off the national schemes I think is probably not there, and I think banks will probably want to use the time to educate their customers, hopefully have the European Commission and other government departments be educated on the opportunities that a pan-European direct debit scheme will bring, and therefore I think the time frame delay is perceived by the banks to be beneficial. The more forward-thinking banks who know that IT projects take a long time will not slow down the implementation, because most IT projects take somewhere between 12 and 24 months, which coincidentally happens to be the time frame that the PSD has caused the delays, and therefore I think lots of the banks will carry on doing certain things. Perhaps some of those other banks will take the opportunity of not doing anything and not spending the money. I would hope that there'll be more of the former than the latter of those types. Creating the business case for pan-European direct debit is probably the $64 million question. I think most banks don't see the incentive to have their customers move from the national schemes to the pan-European scheme. I think certain things like the introduction of electronic invoicing will provide the basis of a sound business case in itself, because of the removal of paper will create a massive cost saving for large corporates that want to do collections centrally across the European continent, and I think that in itself will provide the basis of a sound business case on its own. To add e-invoicing onto the SEPA framework is perhaps not necessarily what the European community would see as their role to do, but I think collectively the banks, the European community, at the government level, the corporates, I think there needs to be a groundswell from all parties to actually adopt something that will in the end benefit all parties who are playing in this new single European payments area. There are signs that electronic invoicing is on the agenda. There is a working group which is being chaired by the European Commission to look at the electronic invoicing, and of course in certain parts of the region already, if we take Scandinavia, electronic invoicing is something that's already commonplace up there, and I think they are pioneering the ground in terms of how that can be used across the European continent. There will be a homogenised model for electronic invoicing, whether that's based on the Scandinavian model or whether it's a completely new look, as the pan-European scheme for direct debits is a new look. I think we'll have to wait and see, but certainly I think the benefits of having electronic invoicing, we can clearly take some takeaways from the Scandinavians and what they've been able to achieve, and what their corporates and banks alike enjoy in terms of very smooth processing. One of the biggest problems around direct debits is the issue of mandates, and whether or not we use creditor mandate flow or whether we use debtor mandate flow, whether we have a mandate database, whether you need to do verifications around those mandates. At the moment, the rule book defined by the EPC doesn't actually stipulate a mandate verification, which provides risk to both the debtor and indeed guarantee of payment to the creditor. So one of the things that really needs to happen to remove that risk from both sides is that mandate verification needs to be a mandatory requirement. If I could change one thing, I would change the fact that the legal frameworks at the national level for the Payment Service Directive is perceived to be taking, or will take, 18 months. It would be very nice if that could be implemented in tomorrow's time frame, or at least 6 months' time frame. I would suspect that my wish will not be a reality. That I think that yes, we're certainly looking at a 12-month, at least a 12-month time frame, probably 12 to 18 months before the PSD is actually worked into the national legal frameworks.